Welcome to the Explainer. So, what if two countries that seem totally different on the surface were, well, actually running the same political playbook? We're going to dive into a pretty provocative argument today, one that says Iran and Pakistan are basically two sides of the same authoritarian coin. And, you know what? Both of them might be right on the edge of a massive shakeup.
So the source material kicks things off with this really powerful quote. The whole idea here is that sometimes history tells you, hey, this is a big moment. And when that happens, sitting on the sidelines just isn't an option. The author is basically saying we're at one of those moments right now, a real turning point. So let's dig into what that actually means for Iran and Pakistan.
Okay, first up, Iran. The argument here is pretty stark. It says that after almost 50 years, the Islamic Republic is basically exhausted. It's just running on fumes. The author's point is that its legitimacy, its political, economic, even its moral authority has just completely collapsed. We're talking about a government that, in the eyes of its people, doesn't really have the right to rule anymore.
And listen, this is a really crucial point. The author isn't talking about sending in foreign troops or anything like that. No, the idea is about creating, well, space. Think of it like creating a protective bubble. The argument is that if the people knew they could revolt without facing a brutal, bloody crackdown, they would. It's about giving them the breathing room to make their move without being massacred.
So how would this actually work? Well, the author lays out a very specific four-step path. First, the U.S. makes a credible threat to stop any massacre. That creates the space we were just talking about, right? This allows the popular revolt to actually succeed. Then, Reza Pahlavi steps in as a sort of temporary constitutional monarch, like a bridge to the next phase. And finally, within a year, they hold elections for a constituent assembly to write a new rulebook. It's a pretty detailed plan.
Okay, so that's the proposed game plan for Iran. But now we're going to pivot, because this is where the whole argument really expands. We're shifting our focus to Pakistan. And you might be asking, why Pakistan? Well, because the author's central claim is that the exact same power dynamics are happening there, just with different people in charge. This is where that whole two Ayatollahs, two states idea really clicks into place.
And this quote right here, when one wall cracks, others begin to tremble. This is the pivot. It's the moment the argument says, hey, look over here. It's suggesting that the instability in Iran could have a domino effect, because there's another wall, Pakistan, that's built on a very similar, very shaky foundation.
So here it is. This is the absolute heart of the comparison. In Iran, you have the supreme leader. In Pakistan, the author says, you have the army chief. The argument is that the army chief is, for all intents and purposes, a kind of Pakistani Ayatollah. He's the one with the real power, the one pulling the strings, not the elected prime minister.
And this table just lays it all out, right? It's all about different costumes, but the same architecture underneath. So in Iran, the real power is with the unelected supreme leader. In Pakistan, it's the unelected army chief. Iran has managed elections with figurehead presidents. Pakistan has managed elections with figurehead prime ministers. You see the pattern? The economy in Iran is controlled by these big clerical foundations. In Pakistan, it's heavily influenced by military-run corporations. It's the same system, just dressed up differently.
But, and this is a huge but, there is one absolutely critical difference that changes the entire game. Iran's Ayatollah doesn't have a nuclear arsenal. Pakistan's army chief does. This isn't just a minor detail. The author points this out to raise the stakes sky high. An unstable nuclear-armed state? That's a problem for everyone.
So the argument has been made. Pakistan's moment has arrived. If it's facing such a similar crisis to Iran, then what's the way out? Is there a similar roadmap? Let's take a look at the author's proposed path for democratic renewal there.
Now this is a fascinating point. The author claims that these kinds of authoritarian systems aren't held up by brute strength as much as you think. They survive on obedience, on people just going along with it. The lesson for Pakistan, according to the text, is that the system breaks not when it's attacked with force, but when the people simply stop obeying.
So where does Imran Khan fit into all of this? Well, the author's very clear. He's not some kind of permanent solution or savior. He's what's called a transitional necessity. Think of him as a symbolic bridge. His freedom, according to this argument, is the necessary first step, the signal that things are actually changing and that a path towards civilian rule is opening up.
And, sound familiar? Just like for Iran, there's a proposed roadmap for Pakistan. Step 1, sustained, peaceful nationwide protests. Step 2, Imran Khan comes in as an interim prime minister, but his job is very specific. Step 3 is to organize elections. And that leads to Step 4, forming a constituent assembly to hammer out a whole new constitutional settlement. Again, the goal isn't just changing the person at the top, it's about changing the entire system.
And to really hammer home this idea that Imran Khan is a symbol, not a savior, the author makes a really powerful historical comparison.
Yeah, the Mandela analogy. The point here isn't to say Khan is Mandela. No, it's about the role he plays. Nelson Mandela became the ultimate symbol against the apartheid system, and his freedom was the first domino to fall. The argument is that Imran Khan has become a similar symbol against military rule, and his freedom is being proposed as that same kind of first step. It's about what the figure represents.
And at the end of the day, this whole thing is way bigger than just one person. The author frames this as a struggle for the future of 230 million Pakistanis. That number really puts things into perspective, doesn't it? It's not just about politics, it's about the lives of an entire nation.
And what are people actually demanding? Well, according to the source, it boils down to these 5 freedoms. It's freedom from militarist tyranny, yes, but also from Islamist tyranny. And it gets even more fundamental, freedom from poverty, from want, and from fear. This connects the high-level political struggle directly to people's everyday lives.
So, to wrap this point up, freeing Imran Khan isn't the destination. It's not the end goal. The author describes it as the opening of the gate. It's the action that unlocks the path toward real civilian supremacy. It's the start of the journey, not the end.
Which brings the whole argument to this final, thought-provoking quote. Authoritarian systems are remarkably resilient until they aren't. It's such a great line, right? It really captures the core idea that these regimes look incredibly strong and permanent, right up until the moment they suddenly shatter.
And so, that's the central question the author leaves us with. When a system's legitimacy just evaporates and the whole power structure starts to crack, what happens next? What fills that vacuum? For both Iran and Pakistan, the answer to that question isn't just academic. It could change everything.